Hey there, and welcome. Do you ever get that feeling that you're not totally in the driver's seat of your own life? Like your phone or the food you eat or even your relationships have this magnetic pull that you just can't seem to resist? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden forces that are really driving our desires in this crazy modern world. Ready to find out what's pulling the strings?
So let's just start with this quote from Dr. Anna Lemke. It's a lot, right? Titillating ourselves to death? It's a huge wake-up call for anyone who's ever lost an hour just mindlessly scrolling or found themselves reaching for just one more cookie. It sounds pretty extreme, but it perfectly captures the high-stakes game we're all playing. And a lot of the time, we don't even know.
And look, this isn't just a feeling. It has absolutely staggering real-world consequences. This number right here, 70%, that's the percentage of deaths around the globe that are now linked to lifestyle diseases. We're talking about things that come from modifiable behaviors like smoking, what we eat, and not moving enough. And these are often driven by the very same compulsive urges we're diving into today.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the dopamine trap. We're going to get into why it feels like our brains are just completely overwhelmed in a world that offers endless pleasure. Let's unravel the science behind it all.
So here's the core of the problem, the real mismatch. Our brains, they evolved over thousands and thousands of years to seek out rare, life-saving rewards. Finding a berry bush, a successful hunt. But today, we live in a world that's like an endless digital buffet, offering up these high-reward, high-dopamine hits 24/7, and they're all right at our fingertips.
And you know what? This isn't a new problem. This quote shows that Aldous Huxley was warning us about this decades ago. The real difference, though, is that today, that infinite appetite for distractions is being fed by technology that is specifically designed to keep us hooked, to keep us scrolling, and to make sure we always want more.
So how does this trap actually work inside our brains? Well, to get that, we need to talk about a core idea in neuroscience, the pleasure-pain balance. And believe me, it's simpler and way more powerful than you might think. First, let's meet our main character, dopamine. You can think of it as the universal currency for addiction. Scientists use it to measure how addictive anything is. The more dopamine that gets released in your brain's reward pathway, the more you're going to want to do that thing again. It doesn't matter if it's eating chocolate, checking your Instagram, or playing a video game.
Now, here's what's so fascinating. Our brains process pleasure and pain in the exact same place. Picture a seesaw in your mind. When you experience something pleasurable, one side of the seesaw goes down. But your brain is always seeking balance, what scientists call homeostasis, so it immediately gets to work trying to level that seesaw back out.
And this creates this incredibly powerful cycle. So first, you get a reward. Let's say you eat a delicious cookie. The seesaw tips hard over to pleasure. But your brain instantly pushes back, tipping the seesaw an equal amount over to the side of pain. Now, this isn't like, ouch, I stubbed my toe pain. It's that subtle, nagging feeling of wanting more. It's like the ghost of that pleasure. And that feeling, that is craving. It's what drives you to grab another cookie or check one more notification, all just to get that seesaw level again.
Okay, so this natural brain mechanism, that's one thing. But what happens when it's not just a part of our nature, but it becomes a target? What happens when it's actively and intentionally exploited by others? This is where we get into the really dark side of the dopamine dilemma, where our own psychology is literally used against us.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. There are very specific tactics that people use to influence us. Things like gaslighting, where they distort the truth so much you start to question your own sanity. Or red tape bullying, where someone uses complicated rules and bureaucracy to just wear you down until you give in. And of course, guilt tripping, making you feel responsible for things that are not your fault. All of these are designed to prey on our most basic psychological wiring.
And if you want to see how these clinical ideas get used in the real world, just look at this quote. It's from a guide on texting for dating. It takes those exact neurological concepts, creating emotional highs and then lows to keep someone hooked, and just packages them as a simple hack. It's a shocking, tactical playbook for exploiting the pleasure-pain balance in another human being.
And this stuff isn't just limited to dating, not by a long shot. As you can see here, these techniques of dark psychology are used all over the place. From politics and business deals to friend groups and our own families, the goal is pretty much always the same: gain influence and control by twisting our natural emotional responses.
Okay, I know that was a little heavy, but here is the good news. Understanding the trap is the absolute first step to escaping it. So in our last section, we're going to shift gears and look at some concrete, practical strategies you can actually use to fight back against these forces and reclaim control over your own mind.
All right, the first strategy is called self-binding. The idea is so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Self-binding is just the act of intentionally creating barriers between yourself and your drug of choice, whatever that might be for you. It's basically you, in a moment of clarity, helping out your future self to make a better choice.
Dr. Lemke breaks this down into 3 main types. First, there's physical self-binding. This is all about creating space, leaving your phone in another room when you need to focus. Then there's chronological, which is about time. For example, making a rule that you won't check emails after 8 p.m. And finally, there's categorical, which is about meaning, deciding to just eliminate an entire category of temptation, like unfollowing every single shopping account on your social media.
Now, the second tool is less about building physical walls and more about breaking down psychological ones. It's called radical honesty. And all this means is telling the truth about what we're doing, especially when it feels uncomfortable. It's not about judging ourselves. It's about bringing those compulsive behaviors out of the dark and into the light.
So why does this work so well? Well, radical honesty forces us to actually be aware of what we're doing. And when we share our struggles with others, it builds real intimacy and connection, which is a powerful, powerful antidote to addiction. It also helps us write a more truthful story about ourselves, holding us accountable to the person we really want to be.
And really, that brings us to the final and most important question. We live in a world that literally profits from our distraction. Understanding the pleasure-pain balance, learning to spot manipulation, and using strategies like self-binding and radical honesty, these are the tools for freedom. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Thank you so much.